Howdy! Welcome to another episode of Duck the Law. In this episode, we are going to be discussing common mistakes that people make during police encounters. These mistakes often end up getting people hurt, sometimes even killed. We're going to look at some video examples, dissect them a little bit, and then finally, I'm going to give you a few tips that you can stick in your back pocket to make sure that you survive your next police encounter. Let's talk about it. Welcome to another episode of Duck the Law. Now, part of the reason I created this channel was because there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what the police can do that end up getting your ass beat. Now, you have to understand that the American legal system is enforced by violence by its lowest level agent, the pig. There's a whole lot of misinformation out there on what police are allowed to do, and a lot of this misinformation is pushed by parents. So I want to try to clear that up. Feel free to share this video with your friends, your family, your kids. You can click the share button below. Put it on your social media to make sure that the people you love survive their next police encounter. As always, nothing I say is legal advice. If you have any questions, you should discuss it with a licensed attorney in your state or jurisdiction. Okay, so for this first video we're going to look at, we're going to ask the question, do I have to show my driver's license to a pig if they haven't told me why they pulled me over? Let's watch.
How you doing, sir? You have your driver's license information on you? I'll be happy to tell you once I see what I'm talking to, alright? I need you to let me know, like, what's going on, like, what happened. Like I said, I'd be happy to tell you once I see information. I'm not giving you my information until you tell me what you pulled me over for. Alright, sir. Failure to give me my information is arrestable offense, okay? So you can either do this the easy way or the hard way, alright? I need to know what you're pulling me over for. I'm going to tell you once I see information, alright? I've got information, but I'm not giving you my information until here's the deal. Either give me your ID or you go to jail. How about that? Okay. Because to be honest with you, I have the right to remain silent, right? So I can just sit here and ignore you. No, you can't. So I don't ask you any questions. Okay. Well, it's going to turn out very poorly for you. So, am I free to go? No, you're not free to go. This is an investigatory stop, all right? You gotta let me know what's going on. You're going to jail is what's going on. For what? You ain't. What charge? On what charge? Wow.
Okay, that was a little rough to watch, but let's answer some questions about what we just saw. Do I still have to show my driver's license if a cop won't tell me why I'm detained? Yes. If you are detained while you are driving, you are required to show your driver's license to an officer, regardless of whether they tell you why you were pulled over or not. Now, it's common practice for most pigs to tell you the reason why they pulled you over. And it might even be department policy for them to tell you why they pulled you over. But department policy is not the law. So another common question is, what if I believe I'm being unlawfully detained or racially profiled? Do I still have to show my driver's license or get out of the car when they ask me? Yes.
You in the car. Registration, license. You do this to people in Beverly Hills, eh?
In the moment, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you feel. The determination of whether a detainment is lawful is made after the fact in a courtroom, not on the streets.
This is the streets, homie. You got no choice.
What's really sad about this video is you can tell that this guy knew his rights. His mistake was in assuming the officer had to tell him why he was detained. That mistake not only got hands put on him, it got him charged, it got him arrested, and now his lawyer has a lot less ammunition to fight whatever charge he was pulled over for. And while he got away with this relatively unscathed, sometimes these encounters end up fatal. Now, I don't want to just focus on what this guy did wrong. Let's talk about this pig too. The pig could have de-escalated the situation simply by telling the gentleman why he was being detained. That wouldn't have costed him anything. And I'm sure the gentleman would have turned over his license, registration, and insurance without further issue. Instead, what this pig chose to do was induce the gentleman into what in California we call resist, delay, or obstruct an officer. This gave that pig the legal authority to smash that window, put his hands on him, throw this guy on the concrete, arrest him, and lock him in a cage like an animal. And I bet you that pig went home that night feeling like a hero, thinking that he put a criminal away. Now, this pig made a deliberate decision to escalate the situation so that he could use force. When looking at use of force cases, the law does not look at the subjective intentions of the officer. Okay, so what did we learn from this video? If you are the driver of a motor vehicle and you are detained by an officer, you are required to show your driver's license, and it doesn't matter if the cop tells you why you're being detained. If you are detained, that means you cannot leave, and it means you must follow the officer's orders regarding your physical body and movement. That means if they say get out of the car, you have to get out of the car. Show your hands, you have to show your hands. Sit on the curb, you have to do that. And if you do not comply, the state authorizes that pig to put their hands on you. Alright, to drive home this point, let's watch another video of what happens when somebody doesn't get out of the car when they're detained.
Get out of the car. Do you want to go to jail? Seriously? Either get out of the car or you're going to jail.
Why am I getting out of the car?
You get out of the car.
Why am I getting out of the car?
I got it. You're stopped in the middle of the roadway. You're violating a traffic violation. So at this point, you are being detained. Do you understand?
I wasn't doing anything besides
I'm not going
driving.
to sit here and argue with you. I'm going to
Okay.
ask you to step out of the car,
Tell them to park front.
or we're going to remove you out of the car. Your choice. I'm trying to be nice. I've not been disrespectful. Have I?
No, but I don't think I've done anything to be detained for. Do not reach into my car. Do not reach into my car. Stop. Stop.
Hey, park the car.
Stop. 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 Stop.
Get out of the car.
Oh my God.
Get out of the car. Put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
Get out.
Put your hands behind your back.
Okay, let's talk about this. Do cops need a reason to ask you to step out of the car? No. You being detained is enough. It doesn't matter if you agree with their reasoning. There's two things you have to remember when you're detained. You cannot leave, and you must obey their orders about your physical movements. Just by looking at the environment around this vehicle, you can tell that she's detained and that she probably is not allowed to leave. The officer even tells her that she's detained and asks her to get out of the vehicle. She then tells the officer that she does not believe she's done anything wrong, and that's why she's not going to get out of the vehicle. And we can see what happened then. It doesn't matter what she thinks. It doesn't matter if she thinks she's being illegally detained. She must comply with the orders about her physical movement. That means she has to get out of the car. And when she didn't comply, the state allowed that pig to put his hands on her. Now, how do you know if you're detained? You know you're detained when you don't feel like you're allowed to leave. All a cop needs is reasonable suspicion to detain you. That's a very low bar. Now, reasonable suspicion needs its own video to describe what that is, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss that video when it comes out. What reasons would a cop want you to step out of the vehicle? Could be for any reason. It could be to separate the occupants to question them separately. It could be someone in the car is being shifty and it makes the cop nervous. Or they can always use their catch-all reason, officer safety. But the truth is, it doesn't matter if they have an actual reason. They can make up a reason. Their real reason for pulling you out could simply be to piss you off or intimidate you. But in the moment, you have no choice because our legal system is designed that your rights are enforced after the fact in court. Your rights are enforced after they are violated. In the streets, we are all helpless to the crazy whims of these swine. And that's why we need to rein in their power a lot more and hold them accountable when they commit crimes and when they violate people's rights. Because the power that they are given is way too broad for it to go unchecked for as long as it has. Okay, so what did we learn in this video? I'm gonna hammer this point. When you're detained, you cannot leave and you must obey orders dealing with your physical movement. It doesn't matter if you don't know or you don't understand or you don't agree with the cop's reasoning. That's an issue for your lawyer to fight in court. On the streets, you have no choice.
This is the streets, homie. You got no choice.
Okay, for our last issue, what if you're a passenger in a vehicle? Are you still detained? Do you have to get out of the vehicle when a cop asks you to? Let's watch a video and talk about it.
Y'all got my information, right?
I don't have my license. I mean, you're gonna give me a ticket for no seatbelt. If
You understand?
yeah.
All right.
No, don't mess my. Now they about to mess my. No.
I'm not the operator
Now they
of
about
this
to
deal.
bless
So
my
if
window.
you do that, all right. I'm not the operation of this deal. Are you gonna open the door?
Why do you say somebody's not gonna hurt you? People are getting shot by the police.
Oh shit! Damn! Ah! Ah!
That was crazy.
Okay, if I'm a passenger in a car, am I detained? Do I have to get out of the car when asked? Yes. If the driver of a vehicle is being detained, the entire vehicle is being detained, including any occupants within the vehicle, even though only the driver may be under investigation. So let's remember what being detained means. You can't leave, and you have to follow the officer's orders regarding your physical body and movement. So that means everybody in the car. It doesn't matter if you don't understand or you don't know why or what they are investigating. Again, in this video, we see the police escalate the situation in a situation where there was no threat, there was no violence. You see them calmly standing around outside of the vehicle. Yet they still chose not only to break the window, but to tase this man immediately after they opened the door. Why did they do this? Because they could. Because the law allows them to, and they love that feeling of power. They can do this because the state and the law considers the most mundane of police investigations to be more important than your property, your freedom, your personal autonomy, your children, your health, and sometimes even your life. So what did this video teach us? Even if you are a passenger in a vehicle, you are still detained. You cannot leave, and you must obey all orders dealing with your physical body and movements. And if you do not comply, they will break a window and you will have state sanctioned violence committed on your person. And you will be arrested and charged for resisting and obstructing. Okay, so after all that, I want to give you some short, memorable tips that you can put in your back pocket that give you the best chance of walking away from a police encounter unharmed and gives your attorney the most ammunition to help you in court. Okay, I know I've said this like 5 times already, but this is the point of the whole video. If you are detained, you're not allowed to leave, and you must obey all orders dealing with your physical body and movements. They are authorized to use force if you do not comply. Don't give them the pleasure. Now, complying with orders does not mean you have to talk. You always have the right to remain silent, and it's recommended that you never make any statements to the police.
Monkey, don't say nothing.
Shut up, Sabine.
Get him out of here, Raleigh.
See my last video for a good example on how this is done. I'll leave a link in the description. You still have the right to decline all searches. If they search anyway, let them. What's important is that you say loudly and clearly that you don't consent to the search. And the importance of this is going to be covered in another video. Finally, you have to lawyer up. You can say, I want a lawyer. And the importance of this is also discussed in my last video. Now, following these 4 tips could be the difference between not only life and death, but conviction and not conviction. Write them on a post-it note, leave it with your registration and insurance, put it up in the visor of your car, do it for your kids so they don't forget what their rights are. Now, if you learned anything from this video, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future Duck the Law videos. You should hit that share button to share this video with your friends, family, kids, and loved ones so that they know their rights and have a better chance of coming out of a police encounter unscathed. Now, as always, nothing I've said here should be considered legal advice. Anytime you need to apply your real-life facts to the law, you should consult a licensed attorney in your state or jurisdiction. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the comment box below. I do respond to all the comments. Let me know what you think or if there's a specific topic you want me to cover. So thank you for joining me today. I hope this information was helpful. Until next time, Duck the Law.